Right, morning everyone. So if you've been watching my channel and you watched the video of me testing the 360 camera out, you'll know that I wasn't overly happy with some of the places that I could mount on the bike and the safety and how secure it was going to be. And I ordered the Insta 360 clamps to go on the bike. Well, they've arrived today. So what I'm going to do is finish my coffee, get myself dressed and sorted out, and then I'm going to open them up, put them together and put them on the bike. Yeah. So the motorcycle U-Bolt mount from Insta 360. Let's have a look what we've got in the box. So in the box you've got three packets of parts, because you have to put it together yourself, and then you've also got a list of the parts that you should have, and then a diagram of how the parts all go together. Now it doesn't look like it's that difficult, and the parts are actually divided up into the bags as you will need them as you put it together. So that's the next job. Let's do that. The first bag I'm going to open is the one that's got the clamps in it, which I don't actually need yet, because obviously I won't need that until I'm actually putting it on the bike. So that's one of the ball joints. The other ball joint is in this packet. But I want to have a look to make sure I've got the right size spanner out. So what you've got there is you've got two clamps. They're giving you two clamps. You only need one, obviously for different size that your handlebars or the bar or the part that you're going to be fitting it to on your bike. So you've got your two clamps. Another clamp piece that then clamps onto there, which obviously going to clamp around where you're putting it on the bike, because that piece fits inside that piece there. Couple of washers, a couple of ender caps for the end of the actual bolt so you don't catch it on anything or catch yourself on it. Two little rubber packs, obviously stop it from grinding against your handlebars or the bar that you've put it on. And then two little nuts, and the nuts, all you're going to need to fit this is 10mm spanner, and you won't need that until you actually fit the clamps onto your bike. So I'm going to open some of the other parts up then. Now I'm going to open up and get the other ball joint out. So there's the other ball joint that we're going to need. And then in this pack you've got the side clamp parts. So here's the clamp one side, which obviously then your ball joints are going to fit into that. And those are the parts that you're going to be able to move around to put your camera at any angle that you want to. And the other side clamp piece, which is going to go onto there like so, and then the part that puts it all together. And as I said, it all comes in the bags as you need it, they're all separated. So what you need to do is drop this bolt down through there, and as you can see that's already in the shape of the nut or the hexagon as it goes down and fits in there. So that fits in there nice and tightly. And what you need to do is this spring needs to go between the two clamps. So I'm going to push that on there. I'm going to turn it a little bit so it actually goes in and fits in there nice and tight. And then I'm going to offer that up to the other hole. So what I need to do is spin that round so that that's not going to come out. So that's now up the other way. I'll put the ball joints in there. And then what you also got is you've got a plastic washer that goes on first. Then you've got a metal washer that goes on second. And then what you need to do is press down on that spring so it clamps down on it. And just got to try and line the hole up a little bit better, he says. So yeah, that's going down onto there. So as you heard that push all the way down, let's crush that spring down, and then you've got the little, I want to say, knob, which you're going to spin to be able to do the clamp up and adjust it whenever you want. Okay, I hope that's catching that fucking thing. So you do that up, and there you go, that's in there nice and tight. So obviously all you need to do is when you want to move it, you just undo the clamp, and then those ball joints will move around to wherever you want to put your camera. So I'll keep that done up for a minute. So all those other parts there are parts that are needed to actually clamp it to your bike. Now on the top of this clamp on this ball joint you have, which is the opposite to the one that's going to go on the bike, so that's where the bike's going to be clamped onto the bar, you've got a threaded screw there. And what you've got on the selfie stick is you've got the thread there, so you can thread that onto there, so then you've got your selfie stick on the actual clamp. Or if you don't want the selfie stick, undo that, and you've got the same thread in the bottom of the actual camera, and you can screw the camera directly onto the actual clamp. So depending on what image you want, will depend on what you're doing. Now once this is on the bike, I can angle the ball joints to go straight out in front, so that then the camera's looking back at me and basically filming me, looking like someone's actually filming me from in front, or one on the back and go out to the back directly out, and it can film looking back at me, or at the back of me, like someone's filming me from behind. Now what I'm looking to do also is put it on the side of the bike somewhere, like on the engine guards, which I did with the other clamp, and angle it so that the selfie stick goes out all the way out to the side. Now obviously I'm only going to do this on roads where I know it's quiet, there's no other traffic about, so that I then can get the view that someone's filming me from the side as I'm riding along. Obviously, as I said, I'm only going to do that on roads where I know that it's safe to do it and there's no other traffic around, so they don't like beat it off, or it doesn't hit people that are walking on the pavement on the other side. But there's lots of private roads down the docks where I can probably do that, so that's another angle that I'm going to look at. So there you go, that's actually put together. That's it. Took me a few seconds. Didn't need any tools for that bit, but I just need that 10mm spanner, as I said, to fit it to the bike. So that's the next thing now. Let's go and fit them onto the bike. So let's go. So before I look at where I'm going to clamp these clamps onto the bike, in the packet or in the box you also got these connections as well. It's like the GoPro connections. So yeah, I'm going to be able to put my GoPro on over as well, which is good. So looking at the back of the bike then, looking at the size of those clamps, you're going to have to excuse the noise because I've got the wind blowing outside and it's getting quite windy, so I apologise for that. But looking at the back and the size of the clamps, I'll probably end up clamping one of the joints onto the bar here, or the other side. Now that's going to be fine until I need to put some luggage and that on there, so I might end up having to manoeuvre it around, because I generally have my tent or bag strapped to the back, or also, even though I've got these bags on now, which obviously you've seen in a different video, I also put a rucksack over there and clamp it on, or tie it on. So that one might have to be moved around a little bit. Now the front one, I'm looking, if I can get in there, I'm looking to try and put it right in the centre. You can see that there, the lighting's a little bit poor, but in the centre there, because at the moment I've got my quad lock there, which I'm not going to be able to get that in there because it'll be fouling the actual connection there, and I've got my USB port there, which I don't really want to move that about, to be honest with you, and start mucking around with that. but if I put it there, then it's going to be a little bit tight on the underneath of there, so that might need moving down. We'll have to have a look. So let's see. So I'm using the smaller clamp on the back sissy bar, and where the smaller clamp does up with the nuts, that's very, very tight. You can't get in there with the O-ring part of the spanner. You've got to do it with the open end spanner, so obviously that takes a little bit of time. Also, as I showed in the box, they give you these end caps. You don't actually need them because there's no way with that onto that bar and that size that the thread's actually going to come through the nut for you to actually be able to put those on. So yeah, so this is a little bit fiddly doing this up, and I presume in time I need retightening because the rubbery sticky pads that are in between the two clamps to stop it from obviously scratching your bike, they're obviously going to over time sort of like bed in a bit more, but it's very, very fiddly, but at the end of the day it'll be on there, won't it? So I'll carry on doing these up, and then I'll do the same with the front. Right, finally, a bit of a fiddly job to do, but it is what it is. I've managed to fit that one on there, and that's with the smaller clamp. That's nice and tight. See that bit there, I can move about when I need to. But with the front, I had a change of plan. I couldn't fit it in the centre there because I couldn't get there to do the nut up on the other side, and I know it's a bit dark, so I apologise for that. I couldn't get there to undo or do up the nut the other side because of the speedos in the way. I did undo that, my USB port, and I slid that down to here, but I was then a little bit concerned that these connections were going to be too close to the speedo clock as well, so I've moved that back and done that back up and put it back in where it was. So in the end I've fitted it onto the indicator stalk, and if you see my other videos you'll know that that's where I've used the crocodile clamp on these before, but it just moved around a little bit too much for me. So I've done it up, been really, really careful not to over tighten it so I don't crack or damage the indicator stalk, because they're only sort of like plastic. It's not going to affect anyone from being able to see the indicator, and it is there nice and tight. Now that one I might end up having to manoeuvre around or change. I'll have to wait and see, but for the time being that's where it's going to go, so I can get that frontal shot in. And if I ever need to change them, obviously just get the 10mm spanner out and put them elsewhere, like on the engine guards, but we'll see. So they're on now. All I need now is some decent weather to be able to get out. As I've said before, I'm not a fair weather rider by any stretch of the imagination, but it's nice out there now, but later on in the evening it's meant to be pissing down with rain, and obviously if I go to work I don't want to get wet before getting to work, and I don't want to be getting soaking wet coming home, so I'll just take the car. So yeah, just need some decent weather now to get out and actually put them on there and try them out. I'm going to say it, I'm not overly happy about it on that stalk. I just don't want the weight of it to damage the indicator stalk, but it is what it is at the moment. That's where it's going to stay. Right, so until next time, ride safe and take care. See you soon. So through the night when I'm at work, I've been thinking about this connection on the bike and I'm not happy with it. I'm concerned that if I go over a bump or something, and with the weight of the camera, especially if it's extended, might vibrate through there and might damage this, might crack it, might break it. So I've decided I'm going to take that off, and the plan is to move my quad lock from there, which isn't going to be a problem, and put it there. I'm just looking to make sure which way the press release is going to be on that side, so it should fit there. Okay, I just need to be careful of those wires there, which I'll chop down and then put around it. It should be alright. So yeah, that's the plan. So I'm going to get on and do that now. All this messing about, not good for you. So I've got a camera up there, I don't know how much you're going to see of this, but I can't hold the camera and do it at the same time. Do stick the old phone on there. I'm going to tighten it right up to check it's going to be right there. And let's climb the board and have a look. Got to admit, I preferred it there, but if that's where it's got to go so that I can put the camera on, then so be it. But what I'm going to do is I'm not going to tighten that up yet until I've put, oh, I can see that I can get the other one on there, because otherwise it will end up going back as it was. But yeah, I'll be able to see that alright. I can adjust the quad lock about a little bit if I need to, move it around and so on, but the USB charger's there, so it's not going to be able to go anywhere else but there. Like I said, it's not a problem with the mirror. So before I tie it up, as I said, I'm going to make sure that I can get the other one on where I want it. Okay. Right, so that's in the place where the quad lock was, and that is nice and tight, as you can see. So now I can move that ball joint backwards, forwards, wherever I need it to go. And the quad lock's there, I just need to tighten it up and then see if I need to put a zip tie underneath there. I'm not too sure I'm going to need to. I think that's going to be alright as it is. I think it's going to cause a problem there. So let's do that up. And then jobs are done. It didn't take long at all. So final view then. Insta 360 clamps there. And that's not going to be a problem. It's not rubbing against anything. It's not going to catch on anything. So I'm happy with that. I can get there to adjust it. And then the quad lock's there. The phone's not going to get in the way of anything. That's all nice and tight. It's right next to the USB port, so I can plug that in. If I do use the GoPro camera, I generally use the crocodile clamps that I've got, which I've been using before, and that'll go onto that one there, so that the lead can come off and go in there, and I can charge that camera up as I'm going, because the batteries aren't that great on that. So all I need to do now is get there and clean that little bit of adhesive off of there, that come off of that clamp. So I'm going to leave it there. As I said yesterday, all I need now is some decent weather to be able to get out and ride the bike. Looking at the long-term forecast for the next week and a bit, loads and loads of rain. However, Monday is meant to be dry, so I'm hoping to get up Monday, get the bike sorted out, get out and go for a ride, give the 360 camera even more of a test, and also try my new mic out with the GoPro, so I can talk as I'm going along, which might be successful. Might be something you lot might not even like, but I'm going to give that a go. I'm intending to just go up and take a ride through Winchester, and catch some of the sights as I ride through, rather than actually stop and get off the bike and walk about, which I will do another time. But I'm just going to go up there and have a ride round and catch some of the sights as I can from the bike. So yeah, we'll see. However, you know what the weather's like in the UK, it can be changing and it can be pissing down with rain again by Monday, so we'll see. Right, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care and ride safe if you're able to get out and ride, that is. Later.